Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Let's Play Sword of the Stars with your host Tim. I am recording this part immediately after compressing down the last part because I want to get the VN Homeworld destruction on screen. Plus we'll do maybe a fight or two, and then probably the second half of this video will be the end of the game. If I'm being honest, I can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot of anything else interesting once the Von Neumann is destroyed. Unless we get like another Grand Menace, or somehow Cecrops is able to produce a massive fleet of dreadnoughts that just pulverizes me, the game is over. Alright, so let's get in there. I'm all done moving my stuff around, and so we're just going to hit end turn, and we'll see what battles we're going to record at the beginning. One of them will definitely be the Von Neumann Homeworld, and I get a chance to see if the Von Neumann Homeworld is still weakened.
We have enemy ships within scanner range.
And that will be good. So let's just do it. I got nothing else to say. I literally just compressed down the last part of the last video. Okay, hello Whip Strikes, Projector, Darkness Shatters, and a bunch of other crap. The Projector will make this battle interesting, so I think we will do this one on screen. Sphinx is lost. We don't have to worry about anything happening here. We'll just auto-resolve this battle. Lost for Cecrops, that is. We have won at Sphinx. There's nothing left there but Whip Strikes. Oh, Adhara could be interesting. I do see a Dreadnought. It's gonna be easy, though, all honestly. He doesn't have any CNC vessels here, everyone. There's nothing. So, I'm just going to auto-resolve this. Even if I lose a Dreadnought to that projector of his, it doesn't matter. And this is not an MK1 projector, so this is using his plasma projectors, I have a hunch. Because I saw a few of his vessels have them. So this is, we've won here. Poha. Could this at all be interesting? So realistically, I'm just looking at 6 cruisers and a Dreadnought. That Dreadnought is a Blazer MK2. He doesn't have he can't win with that alone in the size 2 planet. So no, I don't think this is going to be interesting to watch. We could do it anyway. What Dreadnought is this one? Okay, we'll do that one. We've won here. There's the VN Homeworld. We want to do that one. Deep space, we're intercepting. Deep space, we're intercepting. Okay, so a battle at Tiamat. See if we can hold on to one of my planets. I've had this planet for a long time. Poha, just for the funsies, and the VN Homeworld to end it. Let's do it. Oh, that's a lot of them. Now, I think there's Whip Strikes in this force as well, so I'm not going to just rush forward. We're gonna go this way. Oh, you know what? If it's just their Whip Strikes, maybe then I won't even engage these ships here. I'll simply wait. Oh, no, Tim. Go and engage.
All ships close to minimum range.
You should definitely engage them. Everyone's here to watch. Even if we lose Tiamat, we can just take it back. It won't be too bad. Oh, we have a Harridan with us. Well, that's kind of a shame. I don't realize when my Harridans are still around. Actually, at least the drones will be able to do something to these ships. Remember, Tim, that they have a projector here. It's a shame that I can't see at least the ships that I scan in a list over here as well. That would have been really useful. Just give me an idea of what's still left in their forces, even if it didn't show the scan things. Even if it did not show their cloaked vessels. Good news is this will be even more money. Yeah, see, there's no way Cecrops can recover from this. We are destroying all of his money. It will take him forever to get this back.
Release conduct.
Where's the dreadnought? Alright, here we go.
Target locked.
There go our drones. So it's going to be coming up pretty much immediately. Oh, he's going after the planet. That's probably a mistake. He's got no rear guns to him. What is he doing? Come on, Seacrops, don't do this. Unless he's targeting one of my light defense platforms and he's refusing to change his mind. Oh, he's faster than us, though, so he'll get away from all my ships until he reaches the planet, I suppose. Yeah, he's heading right after the planet. He doesn't like those missiles. Yeah, you go get him, Gila Monster. Shoot him right in the engine. Better have assault shuttles on that. And now he turns around. Why did he turn around to begin with? Oh god, we lost him too much immediately. He's sparking. That's not good for his dreadnought. I say it's going to be close, but it was not close.
Resuming normal operations.
Actually, it was close. We almost lost all of our forces.
Coming about.
I have no interest in going after the remaining cruisers that I know he's got. We'll just stay over here, repair my forces, and that will do it. Wow, I even had to build... I built extra troops when I noticed there was a dreadnought in this incoming force, just to make sure I had a little bit extra to help me fight, and I'm glad I did. Oh, these are battle cruisers still left. This will be fine. We blew up something over there. And we'll just accelerate time. I'm not going to actually engage any of their vessels.
We must withdraw for the moment, Psycho.
Oh, cloaked. They have something cloaked there, is what was happening. Alright, Poha, you have a dreadnought here, I believe. We're just gonna wipe you out, though. My goodness, he can't do anything. This is... I plan to beat this game today, honestly. I'm gonna be here all day. Probably play it all weekend. This is gonna be a Sword of the Stars weekend.
Coordinates received, Kandai.
Oh, nice, Dimetron. This is an energy absorber. Oh, wow. Nice hit. Thanks for the energy. Do you have anything else here? Can you stop me whatsoever, Seacrops? Why did you throw down the gauntlet like you did? Why did it have to end this way? I'm not sure. Now, unfortunately, we have to wipe every single Morigi off the face of the universe. A single dreadnought? Not dreadnought, a single cruiser or something over there?
Target data received. Yes, Kandai. Coming about.
Alright, just wipe him out, please. Hit it. I can tell. Oh, there's no getting away. Okay, that's what I was here for.
Target locked. Yes, Kandai. Full power to thrust.
Energy. I'll take the energy hits on my Dimetron. That's what it's designed to do.
Yes, Khanai. Bringing guns to bear. Command ship under attack. Coordinates received, Khanai.
Uh-oh, but he's hitting my other ship instead. My Post-Suchus. Oh, those lasers.
Under attack.
Alright, you apparently don't want to run, man ship, so you'll just sit there. Wow. Oh, that was easy.
Received. Vessels detected. All ships close to minimum range. Large turret destroyed.
Ooh. Got one of the guns on the Post-Suchus. But it's not sparking yet, even despite those laser hits.
Yes, Khanai. Bringing guns to bear.
Yeah. Bomb all the peoples. Alright, so the peoples are gone. I guess it was fun to watch their Dreadnought show up and do some damage to me, at least. Thanks for the free freighters. I don't understand you, Seacrops. I don't know why you haven't... Aside... maybe Seacrops is trolling us. Maybe he's one of those players that hides like a farm someplace in the far distance. Like, nope, you gotta destroy every single building I've ever made if you want to win. No problem, Seacrops. I like watching the cool space fights. God, this is just disgusting. Just how much we've rolled over him. This is terrible. Seacrops is terrible. You are terrible. I don't know what to tell you. No, if it wasn't for stealth, the Hivers would have beaten you. So I guess the Hivers are even worse because they could have easily have beaten him at this rate. We were the only thing for a little while there saving Seacrops back at turn 100 something. At the very least, they should send these in between my ships, so I do a lot of friendly fire back. But no, they're not going to do that.
Target data received.
So relaxing to blow up all the freighters. Nice, good hit with the impactor on that guy too.
We have swept them aside.
Sweet! Got every single one of them. Okay, this is the one I've been looking forward to. Hopefully we'll be able to destroy their homeworld. I'm curious if they've built any more defenses. No. And the homeworld is still...
Target locked.
Weak. Weakened.
Kandai has spoken.
Move up, everyone. We're going to have those missiles hitting us soon. Once we get this, we'll investigate what this is over here. It looks like... That looks like that's hostile as well. So not only is their planet hostile, the moon is as well. Actually, if we destroy this and it ends, then I guess that answers the question whether or not we even had to investigate the moon.
Yes, Kandai. Bringing guns to bear.
Stormers on my... Oh, this is a normal Post-Suchus. This is not a EW version. This is when I was first building these ships. My goodness. Seems like forever ago now. Probably normal, yeah, normal shaped antimatter. I'm shaped antimatter. Actually, yeah, shaped antimatter drives, hyperdrive.
Taking position, Kandai. Command ship under attack.
Power to engines now. Well, they do still have some harvesting ships. We should be careful of those. So I don't think you'll have any trouble killing it, Mr. Grand Basilisk.
Yes, Kandai. Bringing guns to bear. Commander, under attack. Kandai has spoken. Get the ship moving. Yes, Kandai. Full power to thrust.
Oh, it'd be kind of neat if you destroy the Von Neumann homeworld, it blows up and destroys your entire fleet in the sector. Because otherwise, man, I'm going to try to settle on this planet to see if I can make it my own planet. Is that it? The homeworld has been destroyed, but the battle's not over. Alright then, so we do have to go after the moon.
As you command, Tycho.
Although the battle might be actually over, like we might have won. I guess we'll take a look at the combat results at the end of this and see. It'd be kind of neat if I could actually settle the planet and keep one of their Von Neumann like defense platforms around, but I don't think I'd be able to do that. To be fair, these things were really easy to destroy. And actually, we're going to kill it right now anyway, so it doesn't matter with the rear guns.
Coordinates received, Kandai.
We might not even be able to make it to the moon in time at this rate. So that was fun. So I guess the construct requires a completely different force than the Von Neumann fighters do, right? We want close-range fighters to deal with all their spinning UFOs, but the construct, we want long-range guns to kill it. I'm glad we ambushed them when we did.
Power to engines now.
As well, because we destroyed a construct that was totally here. So they were working another one. I guess they didn't have quite enough resources to construct it quickly. I wonder how many resources it takes to actually build one, because I'm assuming that when they destroy a planet, they take all those resources and bring them back. Oh, you know, maybe we actually don't have to kill this moon. I see something there.
Coordinates received.
Like there's
Maneuver
a
drives
ship or
to full.
something sitting in front of it. Oh, look at this thing. Wow. What the heck? Looks like a Necron pyramid floating there. And we just barely won't make it there either. We're too slow.
Yes, Kandai. Coming about.
But if it says that, hey, we've won at the end of this, then we're done. We're going to ship this back and dismantle all the dreadnoughts that are in this fleet. It's pretty awesome looking. The shattered moon. Oh, they're harvesting the core of it. Oh, or it's an actual dreadnought. This might be another constructor they're making. It looks like one.
Yes, Kandai. Bringing guns to bear.
Oh, there's another whatchamacallit around here too, I see. Can this thing even defend itself, I wonder? Yeah, that looks like a construct that they're producing. Maybe they finished building it and they brought it over here to actually finalize it.
We must pull back for resupply, Tycho.
System update.
I thought it was muted for a second. That would have been really bad. Actually, it wouldn't be really bad, just annoying because I have to record the session. We're going to all our battles and taking a peek. So we won the battle at Tiamat. He's got a handful of things left. We will bump the terraforming up. And we will... Can I build anything as well? Can I at least build a Chuckwalla? We cannot.
Shipyards at your disposal, Rakona.
We can bump you into there. And we'll repair our fleet. And we don't have a Chuckwalla. So actually, why don't we then not terraform? Still can't do it. Still will take 2 turns. Can we over-harvest? I don't want to lose 200 resources to build a Chuckwalla this turn. We'll be fine. We'll just do this at the moment. We'll tag Tiamat. And get to the next battle that we did. How did this work, by the way? We got 350,000 extra bucks. The only thing left is 2 cruisers. 3 cruisers of... well, 2 cruisers and some freighters. So, no problem. We have 1 here. We arrived at Sphinx, and we decimated them.
Repair operations begin. Fuel is the blood of the Empire. Let it flow.
You have 52 range. That's still enough to keep you moving, so we'll send you over to...
Your word is law, Vakona.
Peck. Out of the way, Peck. We're going here to mine. What's next? At Hara, where we won as well.
I hope your enemies fared worse, Vakona.
We lost a single Jesus Christ lizard. We blew up everything they had here. We'll pop a Nile monitor in here this time then. And we've got 44 range. That's still enough to go after another thing. So let's... What are you, by the way? You're a miner. You are MK7. What's in this? Nothing. Okay. We could send you up here. How big is this fleet? That's Fading Suns. Okay. So let's send you...
The Armada moves as one.
To Okara to refuel. We have another research project from the Morigi. We have the money for that, no problem. We won the battle at Poha. Didn't lose a single ship, wiped everything of theirs out. Let's go ahead and repair.
I hope your enemies fared worse, Vakona.
Some whips are fleeing, that's fine. You can do all the fleeing you want. We still have 61 range.
As you wish, Varkona.
So we'll go to... Actually, let's go instead to Talisia. My goodness, this is just disgusting. Poor Seacrops. He's totally lost this. We won the battle at Deneb. I don't think we took any damage. We took no damage. Our movement is still 58, so we can intercept something else. I won't be able to intercept these guys. They're too fast. I can intercept this, though, I think. And or this fleet, which is probably just colonizers. So let's move you here.
Departing now, Varkona.
Prevent them from recolonizing again. The Von Neumann homeworld has been destroyed. Wonderful. Awesome. Then we're done.
Repair operations begin.
Okay. Well, crap. Let's just get you back to...
We will move
then.
at full speed.
So the battle involved a single constructor, which I didn't really see. I just saw the remains of it. And then some berserkers, which flooded the area with their UFOs. And that was it. We didn't even get anything for this battle. Maybe the moon reconstructs or repairs the planet itself? Oh, darn it, and we can't actually settle here. Cost is prohibitive. That's a shame. That's a real shame. Oh, well. Well, we're done. We're going to send them back over here and retire them then. And this Von Neumann... Sorry, yeah, this is round 2. Why don't you go back to Orcus or Tully?
Your word is law, Vakona.
They'll head to Tully and we'll dismantle them there. We won the battle in deep space. Taking no damage. You're a fast fleet.
Our path is clear.
Oh, hold on.
Engaging warp engines.
Your range is 10. You're out of fuel. We need to get you someplace. you'll head to Tiamat. You can assist the battle there as well. Another battle in deep space. And anything we can intercept with you? Not that I can see. Actually, you might be able to intercept this guy.
The Armada moves as one.
Alright, everyone. That basically does it. So, before I get the other part up, he's down to 33 colonies. He still won't surrender. You suck, Seacrops. Alright, everyone. Yeah, this is over. I'll probably be back to show the victory screen. And that will be it. I'm going to save... Actually, I'll save every round so we can see whatever battles or what have you and watch his actual eventual submit to us. But I can't see how he's going to win. I can't see it whatsoever. He is completely outmatched. All right, well that'll do it for us, everyone. I will see you in a few seconds, which will probably be the end of this video, this series. And thank you in advance for watching and for all the hints, tips, and advice you guys have given me. Oh man, I can't believe we've actually won this. Unless another Super Grand Menace shows up here, I don't see how Seacrops is winning. All right, I'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Alright, I know this is the ending of this, so it's a bit weird to suddenly come up to the main menu, but it is over. Or it might be over, it should still be over this turn. If not this turn, it'll be over the next. Seacrops gave in to my surrender. Now remember that because he can change his mind, there's no guarantee that he'll do so when we get back into the game now. So we'll quickly go in. It's been, I think, maybe 4 or 5 more turns since the ending of the last part. Yeah, 5 turns, and it is done. The Tarkas have taken the galaxy, basically. Seacrops is down to about 11 planets. 11 to 14 planets left. And he doesn't have a chance. It is over.
System update. Intruders are near our corner.
He'll be known as Seacrops the Terrible, not because of any great skill he had, but because it was due to his attempts to... due to his protestations against Zeno the Cunning's planet, I was forced to wipe the entire Morigi race out of the galaxy, instead of living together, which I had wanted to do. In any case, let's take a quick peek at this. You can see that he's got nothing. He is whatever large amount he... Well, not nothing, but whatever large amount of area he contained has been shattered. He's about to lose the remnants of his galaxy. It is it. He is down to... it says 18 colonies here. Okay, so 18 colonies. I thought he had less than that. But it's done. He's losing 3 to 4 colonies a turn. He's unable to muster any sort of attack against me. And the game is done. Let's see if he will give in to my... I'm going to demand his surrender. How do I do that again? I come up here. Oh, click on this. Seacrops the Terrible has agreed to surrender to me. Awesome. The dragon sleeps forever. It does. You should never have broken the alliance, Seacrops. We could have won this game together. Oh well. That is it, everyone. I've already given my thoughts in the previous video, and the game's been over for like the past 30 turns. Not 30, maybe close to 25 turns or so. Once I realized that he was simply going to be unable to make any significant headway into my planets. And that is it. That is it. This has been an awesome game. This is the first time I'm going to beat the game. Let's hit end turn and see what happens at the very end. There might be a battle or two that we still get to do. I'm not 100% sure. But let's see what happens. And then that's it. So I guess, actually, we should stop here. Or I should stop here to at least say thank you again, everyone, for all the hints and tips and advice that you have given me over the course of this playlist. It's ending a good 200 turns before I thought it would actually end. I'm surprised just how rapidly the end of the game occurred, thanks to all the massive weapons that we were fielding, and because of the weakness of our enemies, I suppose, in the long run. It was a fantastic game, and I learned a great deal. And I'll be ready to do this in the future. In fact, I'm probably going to start a new campaign up right away. But I won't be recording this game again, I think. Well, one time is good enough. One time is good enough. Maybe I'll play a scenario next year. Well, we will see. In any case, I have other turn-based strategy games to now begin playing again, and I'm going to get to work on them. It's just in time as well that this ends, because Darkest Dungeon, the next expansion, will be out next week, and I enjoy playing that one too. In any case, I'm beginning to ramble. Thank you again, everyone. I'm assuming the game's just going to end when I hit end turn, or there'll be a few battles, but then he submits. Let's see what happens. And we'll get an end screen, or maybe get an end screen, or just a, you have won. And maybe we'll get a bunch of those graphs showing how much we've won. Let's see what happens. I've never won a game of Sword of the Stars aside from the tutorial before. So let's see what happens.
System update.
Seacrops the Terrible has been eliminated. You are victorious! Look at the awesome Tarka warriors. Awesome work, everyone. That's a fantastic face. That's the face of, yup. I'm not gonna curse, but yup, had it coming to him. Absolutely. Look at their warriors. How terrifying. Woo! Number one on every. Oh, hey, and we also do we end number one in technology? I guess we did. Oh, I really was hoping for some graphs to show how we compared with everyone across the entire length of the game. Wow, 46 billion people. Amazing. Well done, Tarkas. That was incredible. Now that I played the Tarkas so much, I actually kind of really like them. Alright, let's say okay and see what happens next. Is that it? Game over. Oh, we're forced to quit. There's no other gigantic awesome end screen or something of the sort. Or maybe that's only because we played an open game. Alright, well, one more time everyone, that will do it for us. I can't believe we've seen the ending. Amazing. Do I get a cool achievement or something? I hope, maybe. I don't see anything. Alright. I guess I can save the game. Game over. And that will do it. Thank you again, everyone, for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, thank you again, everyone. Take care. And one more time, thank you for watching. Holy crap, this was fantastic. Hello, everyone. Alright, welcome to the end of Sword of the Stars. I mean, we've just seen the introduction. We've just seen the ending, Tim. This is the introduction. We've seen the introduction, too. But it's all done, but I mentioned at the beginning of episode 52 that I would do my thoughts on Sword of the Stars as a whole. I tried this in part 52, but I think my thoughts were all over the place. I still haven't written anything down, so we're just going to kind of fire this from the hip. It's probably why I make a terrible video game reviewer. I don't know what you have to do to be a game reviewer other than play the game and get your thoughts on it. Probably should cover the graphics and stuff like that. And so let's load into the game a turn before it ended so I have some access to the more of the fiddly bits of the game. And I'll give my thoughts on the game as a whole. Before we continue, though, you should know that I tend to play games that I like. So know that I have greatly enjoyed the game Sword of the Stars, even if I do have a few negative things to say about it. I'll have positive things to say about it, too. So let's get in there and do it. And yep, you can see I've already started another one. I'm not recording this one. I just want to play it again because how much fun I had playing through this time. Though I can tell already that some of my final thoughts are absolutely correct when it comes to the game. So let's get in here and we'll talk about the game. Yep, awkward silences. That's what we're gonna get lots of those. Way too many of them.
System update. There is an enemy fleet on our scopes.
Okay, right. How on earth am I gonna do this? Welcome to Sword of the Stars review. I guess this will take like maybe 10 to 20 minutes or so. Okay, so what is it that game reviewers talk about when it comes to the game? So they talk about the gameplay, the graphics, the sound, strategic layer, tactical stuff, and how the combat flows, how the controls feel, and stuff like that. And I wish I wrote any of that down because I've forgotten what the first thing was I talked about. So let's go with the start. Let's go with the graphics of the game. So if you've been watching the playlist since the beginning, and I'm imagining if you made it this far, you probably have, then you've seen what the combat looks like. I myself feel the combat looks fantastic, but keep in mind that I play games like Legacy of the Ancients and Mimi and all sorts of games from the late 80s, 1980s or so, and I consider those good as well. So I don't know if you can take my opinion that the game looks good. I think it does. I think it's neat to watch the massive combats, seeing all the lasers and phasers fire everywhere, all the missiles fly around and what have you. You're able to detect what type of weapons are being fired by the enemies and what you're using. I feel that it looks good. Damage it's telling you when ships are damaged by the sparky bits happening on the ship sections. You can tell what different types of beam weapons are based on their color. You can tell what ships are shielded. You get all that information both visually, and it's fun to watch. In addition, it actually has some meaning behind it. It's not like necessarily, I might say the wrong thing here, but like a game like StarCraft, when someone has upgraded their weapons, you don't know that I don't think the weapon fire looks any different. I might be completely wrong on that, but I don't remember that being the case. Like the Warcraft series, and when you upgraded or Warwind or Dune or what have you, I don't recall any of the weapon fire looking any different when you fired it. As opposed to this game, when suddenly you see people using bigger mass drivers, you know, oh, okay, well, he's researched medium drivers. You can also have that, you have that data correlation upgrade to show you what they're using as well. But graphically, all that information comes across to you in the battle itself, which I think, hey, that's pretty awesome. And it looks great as well, or I think so, too. Seeing the streaks of the missiles, seeing the different colored beam weapons going off, all the laser fire happening, it's awesome. When it comes to the game sound effects, I guess, well, actually, hold on. What else is there? So the planets, I like the way the planets look. I love when we approach the planet to take it. You see all the lights going on the planets. When it comes to the ship design, I really enjoy this as well. I should really make this its own section, but graphically, the ships, I love how all the different races have their own looks of the ships, so you immediately know what you're facing. In combat again, if you're able to recognize what ships are like the CNC vessels, and or what type of mission sections or command sections they have, that's really important, because you're like, holy crap, that's a command vessel. I totally need to shoot that, so this way they don't get any reinforcements. Or, oh, that's an energy absorber. I gotta be careful of that. Or that's an impactor. I need to rush that with a shield in the front, so I don't get pulverized from long range by their Gauss cannons and everything else of the sort. So that aspect of it is really well done as well. I think you can also detect the planet size. I think the larger planets have a larger size to them as well. In combat, well, hold on. We should combat a little more separately, right? So then, what else do we have graphically? I can't think of anything else, actually. The rest of this I kind of want to talk about when it comes to the strategic layer and the tactical layer. I call strategic layer this metagaming, and the tactical stuff when we're actually in combat. I'll try to load into a combat so I can talk about combat a little more in depth when we're actually there. So the sound effects, the voice acting, I find, to be honest, it's kind of silly, but it's endearing to me, having played it often enough. Like the crazy scientist. Oh, we've done the research. When you're the humans, it's really funny, and I like the different voice modulation they tried on the Morigi or the Hivers when you play them. I really like the female Hiver announcer, and while it's over the top, I do so like it. I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. Actually, and the combat shouts are also useful as well. Hearing that you lost a turret, hey, this is happening, like our shuttles have docked, we've lost a drone wing, help, our planet's under assault, we're taking massive damage, please get here and help us. I like that stuff. I especially like the Hivers, again, when you begin losing ships and you hear them scream, our brothers are dying. I'm like, oh my god, my brothers, I don't want them to die. And it's really touching, and sort of. So I like the sound effects, the voices. For the sound effects themselves, I feel they're good. I like you hear the missiles launch. You can hear all the lasers pew-pewing, the mass drivers cannon fire, the beam weapons, the lancers going off and firing into things, the little weird explosions when the corrosive missiles explode. All that's great. Absolutely wonderful. I really feel that that they had some heft to it. I love the sound of the impactors firing. God, I'm terrified of them when the Hivers were using them. It's really good. And so you can, all the weapons have a distinctive sound, a distinctive feel for them. I really feel that's well done. The sound for like confirmation when like you make a change or something like that. Like if we go into our dreadnought here, and we click on this guy, and I'm like, I want to give him this in the front. If I was to save that,
This design will be saved for future reference, Vakona.
you get the notification that, okay, you did something, that's fantastic, or the little sound effects that things are happening to let you know, okay, you did this, we acknowledge you did that, and so on. It's nice. I like that as well. So I think that's on the graphics covered. I really like the graphics. I feel they're good. If I had to give them a number on it, let's make it 1 to 10. Okay, but what would I compare that to? So what would a 1 be? 1 would be the Adventure from the Atari 2600, or Pong is what we'll go with, a 1. Because graphically it was terrible, right? Like, compared to what we got today. The game was great, but graphically it was horrible, right? Absolutely horrible. I feel so bad saying that, knowing that people, what they did at the time was great with what they had, but sure, we'll make that a 1. And what would be, actually, let's make it 1 to 20. What would a 20 be? I can't think of a 20. A friend of mine was showing me Star Wars Battlefront 2, something that was released at, they're showing this off on Xbox or E3 this year. That game looked great. So we'll go with that as a 20. There's probably other games which are above that, and to be fair, I don't know if you could have a RTS game that graphical quality, or like StarCraft 2 or something like that. Like, those still look good. Or Dawn of War, right? Dawn of War 2 looked fantastic. So I'd probably say that nothing's that like the ship-wise. They get the message across. You can see the different sizes, and there's enough difference in the ship hulls that you're able to recognize what it is you're fighting. So I guess compared to what's out today, I guess I give it an 11, which is to say that I guess graphically it's average, but I love it. I think it's fantastic, and the sound effects are great. I actually think that, like, seeing the weapons smash into the ships and hearing the Lancers fire and hearing the missiles crash into the ships, maybe not as best as it could be, but on a scale of 1 to 20, I think still think it's pretty good. I think I'd give this like a... Well, if I take out the voices, because if I'm being... I love the voices, but if I'm being honest, the voice acting isn't the best in the world. So if I take out the voices, I guess the sound effects would be... give them a 14? Like, they're good? I really like them. They're not the exact sound of a missile firing, of course, but hey, what do you want? The voices, 10. It's not god-awful. It's funny, some of them, and some of them, they do sound serious. So that would be what I would say for the voices. Right. So when it comes to managing, or this strategic layer of the game, what do I think of this? So I like games with lots of things that are going on. This game has a lot which is going on all at once, especially if you're playing a game like I was, like 270 stars, massive sphere, galaxy. Like, there is a lot happening. You have the ships going to all sorts of different places. We have well, not hundreds of planets, but we have 800 planets? We have 81 colonies of our own. Plus, we're tracking a bunch of neutral territories and watching where our enemy's going. I do feel that while there is a great deal of information here, and a lot of it is very helpful, and without it, the game would be pretty unplayable. Some of it's still confusing, and you do have to manually ensure that certain things are happening. There might be other ways to go about some of these things, but I don't know how to do them automatically. What am I talking about? So, for example, when we take over a colony, we have the option of over-harvesting in order to speed up that process, to make the colony the correct climate hazard for our race. It would be neat if we could have set a value somewhere to say, hey, when over-harvesting, never let the planet drop below this number. Automatically turn it off when your resources drop below this number, otherwise I don't care. But there is no such thing. So when I come in here to watch to make sure a planet isn't falling behind its certain amount of resources, I need to go and find out which one has a climate change on it, like this one, for example. And if I was over-harvesting, like, I need to watch this number, and if the number gets too big for me, then I have to manually decrease it rather than doing it automatically. You have to keep track of what your ships are doing at each and every turn. There's no assistant to help you. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're used to using such, I think there was a few strategy games I played. Which is an example of one? Galactic Civilization, I think, might have had a manager to help you with towns. I think Masters of Magic did, or something like that. It was like, when I don't give you instructions, do this thing for me. And that would be really helpful for this game, especially because this game, it takes place on, it really feels like a galactic space battle. There's a lot going on here. And you have to watch your budget. I guess I should stop here and also say that the tutorial for this game is pretty bare bones. In fact, I believe I began the series warning you that I'm only mediocre at best at the game, and there was a great deal about the game not even I understood at the time. And if it wasn't for you guys offering me tips and hints, there would still be a huge amount of information that I wouldn't have known. Even some of the texts, what they say they do, don't actually work. So there's that aspect of it as well. So it can be really confusing. That said, once you get over that hump, and you realize, okay, every like 3 turns, I should go and look at all my planets to make sure they're not being over-harvested. Every so often, you should go to your fleet list and check to make sure, hey, are all my assault fleets doing something? And if they're not doing something, why are they not doing something? Like, here's Tempest. It's just sitting here. Why? Oh, because I wanted to fight Cecrops the Terrible and wipe out all his ships here, for example. Now, if it sounds like I'm being overly negative on this, I don't mean to sound that way. There is a lot going on here again. And to be fair, if there was a lot of automatic stuff in here, people would want to turn them off as well. So I'm not saying, like, people would be angry that, hey, I don't want you making this decision. I want you doing what I want you to do all the time. So it's just that the options aren't there, but I don't think that really makes the game... I don't think it detracts from the game so much as it makes it more difficult to play if you're not used to doing this many things during a game. Like managing all these things. There's a lot of information here that you can use to help you out as well. I didn't use this, but we can use this filter, for example, to say, hey, what are my mining ships doing? Show me every fleet with a mining ship. Do I have any refineries around? What fleets have them? And that would take out all of my defensive fleets from this massive list, for example. Even then, certain information is also displayed here. Like, we can see how many dreadnoughts are in the ship. You can see over here, these are the number of colonizers, refineries, mining ships, who's mining, who's dropping off ore. I don't understand what the muting is. What is this? Transferring slaves. Okay, you can see how many people are transferring slaves. This must be for the Zool, I suppose. You can even see who is flagged as a guard, for example, as well. So there is plenty of information here going on. You can check on all your explored systems. You can make notes to help you out. In fact, thank you guys again for recommending that. I was using that to help tell me, hey, do this with this fleet and so on, to help remind you to do things. And in fact, you can, a lot of the game, well, not a lot of the game, but I was spending probably close to 2 to maybe up to 10 minutes each turn off camera later on, adding these tags. Something I didn't show you is you can add a note to fleets as well to help you, like, go here, then here, then here, for example. You just can't give them instructions to do that on this. But there's plenty of tools here to help you manage the system, even if it is a little bit confusing at first. I have to say that also there isn't a lot of information about some things which... you do have to spend time with the wiki, is really what it boils down to. Like trade, you really need to read trade, or if you won't realize how important it is to build trade lanes, how critically important it is to build trade lanes, get them established as fast as possible. And even then, like, I didn't spend that much time in this view whatsoever, because I didn't particularly care. We can assign escorts to our traders to guard them from enemy attacks, for example. I didn't bother, because we were raided only once, or maybe twice, in the entire time we played the game. So it wasn't a concern this time around, but it might have been a concern in a different game, and so on. Right, so what else is there about this? So I really like the trade lines, fleet lines, showing you where things are going. That is incredibly helpful, and being able to right-click on them, and for it to show you what you have in there is really neat. I also love how your tech, all the miscellaneous tech, or almost all of it, really matters to some extent. Like, like even a tiny bit of tech matters. Like, because I have deep scan ships, I'm able to see what all my enemies are doing and going. If I didn't have them, I wouldn't know what they're doing. Or if you had sensor jammers, you wouldn't be able to see what, or if Cecrops had jammers, I wouldn't see what they were doing. But he doesn't have any jammers, so I can watch what all his fleets are doing, see what all his planets are like. Like, that's pretty awesome. All your tech matters. And a lot of information is given on the planet as well. So, like, if I zoom in on it, I can see that, hey, here's the defense, Ascabez, whatever you can say that. This many destroyers, that many cruisers, and I can see this ring 10 around it. But there's also information over here, giving more information as well as to the planet layout. So there's a great deal of information here. It just will get it'll take some time to get used to it. One of the things I was notoriously bad at doing, which you guys corrected early on, was how when I begin taking over a planet to begin colonizing it. Let me see if I can find that one planet again that had a climate hazard. Here's one. So here's Gilgrotten. One thing I'm bad at is that when it comes to fleet construction, for example. Oh, actually, I think that was a mistake. So if I was to start building a ship over here, let's build 3 of these, for example.
You heard him. We must increase the fleet.
I wasn't editing this, so like sometimes I leave it over here, and this is unnecessarily hurting me. It means, yes, I'm getting more income from the planet, but my ships aren't being created as quickly as they can be. And my playstyle, and I have a hunch the vast majority of people's playstyles is when I tell you to build ships, I want them done immediately. As fast as you can possibly build that ship, build it. Though I can understand why they give you the slider, because it gives you more control. It wouldn't be a thing that I would have thought it played that much of a role in the game, but it totally does. What else is there about the strategic thing? Again, there's a ton of things going on here. This is so important that they added this, and I really like this. This is such a nice touch. Being able to go through everything which occurred in a turn is so handy. And you will go through everything you did in the turn. I have, as you've seen in this playlist, I've spent up to 35 minutes to 45 minutes taking a turn, making sure that everything which has happened, that I've noticed it, and I'm reacting to it, and maybe doing something else with that thing, because not doing something with the fleet that should be doing something is death to you in any game that you play. So going through this is important, and then making new decisions, and then remembering to check on all your system notes and stuff like that. So again, something like this is really handy, but it can be more than overwhelming to you. Also, when it comes to the strategic layer, when I had first played the game years ago, I didn't realize how important it was to get certain techs. We'll talk about the tech tree in a little bit, but for example, the managed fleet screen, this is so critically important to understand that this option is available to you. Like, if you just went into the game, just added a bunch of ships to a fleet and sent them out to do combat, even if you had a CNC ship there, you might not have ever realized that you can do this, or that you can assign different squads to your ships, or even come into design and assign different weapon layouts so you can have different guns fire on different people, or hold certain weapon fire if you don't want to use it on the enemy. So it's really important. Again, read the wiki to understand how all of this works. It is really important, I think. Again, a huge hump. With all this said, however, there is plenty of information here, and I do feel the game gives you the tools you need. You just need to be aware that those tools exist. And it's one of the reasons I love the game, because it's one of those very simple games. Like, you can play it, not really care. I don't think you'll win, but you can just fire it up and just do whatever. But if the moment you reach in and begin understanding how all these systems works, the game really unlocks for you, and it shows you how much strategic depth you have. Now, with all of that said, we're going to now talk about research, because this is more strategery stuff. I will say that now I've gotten this far, and I believe I talked about this briefly on part 52. I can't imagine that you're going to make too many different choices when it comes down into the research area. And having played the game this long now, well, there are some choices I feel are a mistake to take. So let's cover the basics first. So, first off, I really enjoy how the tech tree never has the guaranteed same techs available to you no matter what race you play. This is good because it means you can't be guaranteed to get the techs that you feel you need to win. But it's bad because some techs are so extremely powerful that I can't imagine what you would do if you didn't have them. And only certain races have a 100% chance to get certain techs. So, for example, us, as the Tarka, I don't believe we have a 100% chance to have Lancers showed up. And there's the cutting beam, I think, up here. And then I think there's even a fourth beam. And if we went to go look at Seacrops, I think he has the cutting beam. Let's take a look at his weapons. Do I see it down here? No, I don't see it listed here. Okay, so, oh wait, no, this is it right here. Yep, cutting beam. So he has an upgraded version of Lancers, for example. We thankfully didn't see him use it, but it's an even more powerful version than Lancers are. Now, granted, the game is a bit balanced because you actually have to spend the turns to take that tech. But for certain techs, like point defense tracking, this gives you your early point defenses. This is your shoot down missile tech. That is so critically important. You will lose so many ships trying to assault an enemy planet if you lack this tech, that I imagine it's so much more expensive if you don't have this. And it might not show up depending upon the race that you are. Like we might, I don't know off the top of my head what the chances are to get all these techs, but I just know that some techs you have the chance to not get them. Another really important tech that we might not have gotten is point defense phaser. This is so flipping powerful that I cannot imagine not having it. And I think we only had, I want to say it was like a 50% chance to get this tech versus the Morigi, who have like a 90% chance, I believe, chance to get this tech. Like, holy flipping crap. That's great. That's a crazy difference, especially given the power of the tech. So I will say that while I enjoy the tech tree and how they made it different whenever you play, I really don't think that it's balanced well enough for them to have done that. But that said, hey, it's part of the game, so you just have to realize that going in. Like, we might not have gotten X-ray lasers. What would we do if we didn't get X-ray lasers? Well, we'd have to stick with purple lasers if I wanted ultraviolet lasers, and/or hope we would have gotten pulse lasers up here. We had 2 chances for pulse lasers as well, going through phasers, which might not have shown up, or point defense phaser. As you can see, we got it when we researched this tech. Now, the game does make up for this by giving you the special projects. If you have salvage and research vessels with you, whenever you finish a combat, which they were present in the army, not necessarily in the combat, but present in the fleet, there's a chance, which goes up with the more of them you have, that if you had a tech and failed to get the equivalent tech that the enemy was using, so for example, if we killed a Seacrops vessel, and we had research lancers, and one of the vessels we killed had a cutting beam, we might have had a chance to get the cutting beam tech. One of these might actually be it. The problem with this is that you can't increase the research spent on it. So it could take you like 70 turns to get one of these techs, but at least there is a way for you to get it. What else is there about the tech screen here that we can talk about? So when it comes to techs, I also feel that the defenses are much more powerful than the offensive techs, honestly. Especially for things like mass drivers. Our enemies, Seacrops, was using quark resonators. Quark resonators are the best type of defense against ballistic weapon fire. All of our weapons that we were firing, if you noticed, anything that had stormers on them, and I mean anything, was bouncing off the ship's hulls, effectively doing either no damage or significantly reduced damage. I was forced to take armor-piercing rounds, which nullifies the AI's defenses. The AI will always build these defenses, always, and add them to all their ships all the time. All my time playing the game has shown this to be 100% the case all the time. I have never seen the AI realize, hey, he's using armor-piercing rounds. I'm going to take off the defenses because now those rounds will do less damage. And I can make more ships because it's cheaper. AI doesn't care. AI's like, whatever. I'm still going to field my whatchamacallit, my quark resonator defended ships. Wasting money, effectively. If the AI was a little better at adapting to my strategy, well, that'd be great. Now, a human player, obviously, you would make that change, or I would hope you would. So there is that. What else is there about tech? So I talked about it briefly in part 52, but I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about the tech now, about each of these trees. So for ballistic weapons, I really feel that point defense tracking is so important. If you research down here and you don't get point defense tracking, I'd argue you might as well start over, unless you can get point defense phaser. This is really necessary in the early game. This is probably necessary mid or late game. Especially if I've gotten this far. Okay, but we'll get to that tech a little later. In any case, this is extremely important to be defensive against missiles, which is what the enemy will begin fielding if they don't see you shooting down their missiles with any point defenses. I really feel that the mass driver tech is probably useless. since in the early game it's going to be useful because hey, it's there, and the AI probably won't research defenses right away for it. But otherwise, what you really care about, actually, I guess, okay, you want armor-piercing rounds because this allows you to make your mass driver weaponry use this. So you have to actually select the difference when you go to your ship. And I'm sorry, everyone, you probably already know all this, but for example, we go over here to this vessel and we say, I want you to use this weapon instead of this one. So we can see the cost up there as well. It's a little more expensive. The weapon actually does it's a little more accurate. The damage is the same. It actually will do less damage to a ship that doesn't have armor piercing, doesn't have defenses on it, but at least it'll do damage. So I really feel like this is 100% something you need to take instead of mass driver tech, especially when you're fighting the AI. Accelerator amplification gives you impactors. As you saw when we were fighting the Von Neumann, I have no idea how we would defeat the construct without this tech. We would have to throw endless amounts of ships at it. Instead, we won, despite the fact I was losing ships, because we had a single dreadnought with an impactor section, which blew it up. And since if you play with random encounters, you're always going to get the Von Neumann, I think. This is critically important. Stormers, I'd argue, are useless, because you can't make armor-piercing round versions of them. So I don't see the point in Stormers. In fact, I would never research them again. Bursters, I've never taken it, and honestly, I don't feel like I've ever needed it. Shield breakers might have been useful if I ever had a chance to use it here, but because our enemies weren't using shields, I have no opinion on that. For the communication tree, I really like the communication tree. I'd argue that these are required, because definitely, obviously, some. You absolutely need battle computers, data synergy, and armada command sections as soon as you get them. They are what lets you field additional troops in battle. Without these, you cannot make fleet formations, and you are limited to only, I think it's, 6 command quota in a fleet? And that's god-awful. You won't win the game unless you're fighting an easy AI who you assigned a size 1 planet and no resources. Like, you're not gonna win. You're just not if you don't take it. So it's required. I'd also argue that faster than light economics is also required, as fast as you can get it probably, so you can begin those trade lanes immediately to begin pulling in money to make it profitable to you. I always try to grab advanced where is it? Where's my data correlation? I always grab data correlation. This is the tech that also gives you this screen, which I feel is critical. I need to see what my enemy is fielding in case I haven't paid too much attention, so I can field the appropriate defenses against it. If I'm at a situation when I need to do so. So you're definitely going down this tree. You notice all game, I didn't use advanced command and control. It says allows you to select ships and give them orders from within the tactical sensor screen. And since the AI can just work without this, I force myself to work without it. However, in this past video, I noticed that, hey, if I have this, I can actually just stay on that screen. And not only that, but I can give orders to ships from greater than visual range. So actually, this technically allows you to react to enemies who you can't see actually in the combat screen. You have to go to the sensor screen to see it. So it's not quite as useless as I originally thought it was. I'd also argue that you probably definitely want electronic warfare, which is somewhere around here. It might be over in the industrial area as well. But all this is really... It feels great. And although a lot of this is passive, it's so important to go down this tree. For the Xenotech, okay. First off, these incorporate Morigi. I think their first tech says 15% of all xenoculture research. It's a lie. It doesn't do it. The internet has said, nope, it's total 100% broken. Doesn't do it. So don't research trade Krilo just for that. I will say that the Subjugate Morigi was fun to use, and it let us beat the game a little earlier. It also threw us in the current situation we found ourselves in versus Sea Crops. Unfortunately, I didn't get a good chance to use Accommodate Morigi because our last enemy was Morigi, which meant that we had to basically kill all the Morigi population. We couldn't benefit from this, unfortunately. And I definitely wouldn't take Proliferate Morigi because that gives us Morigi population on every single planet, which would just rebel. So keep that in mind. This is actually a two-edged sword of sorts. Well, oh, and you do need this if you want to have ceasefires, non-aggression pacts, or alliances. So I do like that aspect, like you actually have to be able to communicate effectively with the race. So I like that. Useful, obviously, mostly for AI. Well, I think you have to have that to even ask human players to do so, or you don't understand their speech in the game either. Industrial is some of the, again, more important techs. In fact, you can see I took almost everything down here. Right away, you want walled units. That's the very first thing you should always take, always in every game you play, always. Always, every single time you want to take it, always the first thing in every game you play, always take walled units first in every single game, always, all the time, always, every time. Take walled units. It's too damn useful. It'll be available to you as well. And going down here, I mean, this is how you get bigger ships. I suppose you can beat the game. No, you can't. Unless you limit everyone else to only destroyers. Once they start fielding cruiser construction, they'll field larger CNC ships. And then your simple 20 command quota will be fighting 36 command quota of the enemy, and you'll get wiped out. So that's one thing I like about the research screen. You have to keep up with the tech. Like, you can't just say, I've got what I need. I'll stop here at destroyer construction. Nope. No. You need to keep on the research. You got to keep at it. You must keep improving your tech in every way imaginable to win. And I do like that. Like, certain techs, you'll fade them out. You're like, that was great 100 years ago. We're up to purple lasers now. We no longer need our red lasers. The purple lasers are better. Is there anything over here that is, like, required? The defenses are so important. We got lucky in that we got improved reflective coding and magocinematic lattices from the humans through the special project research tabs. We only started with just these two. So that was really lucky that we were able to grab additional text. We might have even just grabbed reflective coding from them. I can't remember if that was available to us at the start. Right, so this is great tech tree. I love all the options that this gives you. Biological, I'm a huge fan of biological. I try to grab some of these upgrades early. This is what improves the speed at which you're able to what's what I'm looking for? Crap, I forget the word. To make a planet into your habitable for your people. I can't. It's right on my tongue. Can't remember. I don't remember it. But in any case, this tech is really important, especially when fighting. Especially, or arguably only, when fighting opponents whose climate hazard differs greatly from your own, and or those random planets you find who's greatly different than your own. If either of those two is true, if you see a lot of planets that are size like 7 or 6, and the climate, or even size 1 or what have you, climate hazard is 600 points different from what you want it, you will want these techs to speed up that process. I've never used any of the warfare techs, the plague techs, and I've never been attacked by them either, so I don't know how important it is to have or not have these. Cybernetic interface, thank you guys for pointing out that I don't risk an AI revolution by just grabbing this starting tech, so really super important. Grab cybernetic interface also very early, thanks to the benefits it gives you. You could probably, I'd argue expert systems is also critically important. The drones, I think I've already talked about it in episode 52. I don't understand why you would take these. The moment you either grab point defense missiles or point defense phasers, drones just melt to those weapons. They don't have a chance. So I would only now go down the drone route, only if the AI was unlucky enough not to get point defenses. If my enemy didn't have point defenses, sure, because they're not shooting down these things, in which case they're really super effective. But if they do have them, these will be outclassed pretty much immediately, and all your tech you research down here useless. That said, you could force them to take that tech and then not fire any drones or missiles, and then those are wasted small weapon slots, so I guess there is that. All that said, however, the Tarkas, Battle Riders, which is a Tarka unique tech, holy crap, that is amazing. That is totally worth coming all the way down here to grab that tech. I'd argue nothing else is, though, for them, when it comes to drones. I have nothing to say about star drives. These are other than these are important for whatever race you're playing, and you definitely will want all of them no matter what your race is. For missiles, oh, well, this is a passive upgrade. The only thing about missiles is that, again, if your enemy is fielding any amount of point defenses, missiles are, well, not any amount, but if they're fielding, like, point defense phasers, especially point defense phasers, unless you, point defense phasers, it doesn't matter how many missiles you have, they're practically all going to be shot down. You're preying on bad gun placement when it comes to the defensive tech on the enemy's ships. So, there you have it. I've never taken shields besides the disruptor and deflectors. That said, these are really important. We have won we won against the VN construct because of deflectors, because it sucked up all the hits from their missiles. We didn't care. If we had disruptor shields, we could have actually approached the ship and be immune to its beam weaponry. So there you have it. So these are really important techs. I don't know how much shields themselves are important, because I've never actually fielded them. Power tech, well, you got to come down here for the speed increases, so important. We definitely want these. Every race has also 100% chance to at least come down the center section of the tree, so that's really important. I'd argue that this tree is very important as well. If you're just left with normal lasers and normal mass drivers, oh, I guess you can win, but heavy antimatter cannons are amazing weaponry. I can't imagine not having it. It has won us many, many battles, so... Energy weapons are really important. Really, really great tech. Blazers, especially when you're fighting enemy dreadnoughts, really important to lay down that damage right away. I also like the beam weaponry and how accurate they are. Again, we got lucky getting down this far. It's something like I think we had not a 100% chance to get this. I think it was like maybe 80, then 60, 40, 30, and even this we got it, even though our chances to get it are low. I think they're low. I think they're low for Tarkas. And yeah, so there you have it. So when it comes to techs, they're, again, some are much more powerful than others. I could go on for easily another hour about all the techs individually. I'll just say that I do like the techs. I wish they were balanced a little bit better. Some techs I would never pick now, ever. Chief among them would be Stormers. And I wouldn't be interested in, probably not the missile weapons, and definitely not drones either. Our missile weapons are useful in the very beginning, but again, once the enemy begins fielding phaser defenses, it's, you can probably skip it. And RK Seacraft is fielding all energy weapons, so I should field a lot more energy absorbers, make my ships more resilient, and do a lot more damage back to him. So, there's that aspect of it too. Anyway, wow, that was a mouthful for the tech. Okay, so when it comes to... Oh, well, actually, there's a little bit more up here. When it comes to the management of different races on the planet, and this screen here, I will say that it was very confusing, and I really dislike that we can't bombard a planet to death from space. Like, if there's hostile Imperials on the planet, we can go into combat with it and blow them up. But if there's hostile civilians, and I don't want them there because I want the planet for myself, I have no way that I'm aware of to strip the civilians from the planet, basically bombard them to hell, and then colonize the planet. I can't do it, which doesn't make any sense to me because we can bombard the Imperials off the planet. So, I don't understand. But, oh, there you have it. That's Alright, so I think... Wow, we talked like almost 30 minutes so far. That's the strategic layer. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 20... Oh... What am I going to give this one, Tim? Everything you need is there. It's just the understanding of where it is located and your willingness to understand those mechanics, because it can be tricky to learn it and time-consuming to keep up on it. I give it a 13. Given the amount of stuff now the game has, I think they did an adequate job or a good job at trying to give you the tools to manage what they were trying to put forth for you here. If it sounds like that's a little low, I really don't think it is. It is, I'm trying to be honest. Like, a lot of people I know for game reviews, they're like, if the game doesn't get a 9, the game's garbage. Well, I don't work that way. An average game, a game which I would give all 11s to, is a game I have really enjoyed playing. Like, I don't regret my time playing it, and I really liked it. In this case, for this game, well, I'll give it the entire score, I guess, at the end. But I can say that, hey, I'm playing the game again. So, you know, overall, it's more than a 10 for me on a scale of 1 to 20. If numbers matter at all. Like 5 Tim points or something. I don't know what to give it. So, for the actual combat, let's, Oh, I'd have to be in combat. I gotta say end turn. Do I want to do that? Oh no, we'll just talk about combat. I'm lazy. So, for the combat screens itself, it can be very chaotic. Well, okay, let's hit end turn and we'll do a quick battle. I'm gonna quit right back to the main screen after this is done, so I don't particularly care. So, oh, crap, but I have to do this battle. This was a really tough one. We'll just do this one again. Well, not the whole thing. I'm just going to load into the game really quick here so I can just give you some idea what I'm talking about. and cover it from this view. Okay, so right away, something that let's go up there and fight these little destroyers, these little ships right here. So first off, if you didn't realize you can pause the game, that's really super important. I don't think the game actually tells you. You can totally hit pause by hitting the pause button on the pause key on the keyboard, for example. So when we sail into combat against these guys, or the dreadnought, which shows up shortly thereafter after we kill them, the one thing which is interesting about the combat in particular. All right, well, actually, let's stop. I'm getting ahead of myself. Again, I'm scatterbrained, absent-minded. So right away, I like these bars up here. If you didn't realize, this is the Imperial and the citizens on the planet, and showing you how many they are relatively compared to each other, and the overall health of the planet, because that's basically the health of the planet. You might not pay attention to this, but that's really important to know. I do greatly enjoy the fleet commands. In fact, we're going to go and hit
All ships close to minimum range.
because this way, when new ships spawn, they will immediately act, rather than you having ships just sitting there not doing anything. Then you can go and select individual ships, like this guy,
We stay at bombardment range, Tycho.
and I can tell him, hey, I don't want you actually closing in close, and this guy should do so. And because I want them going to maximum range,
We stay at bombardment range.
and you're a Lancer, I'll have you and you actually we'll have one close in. So I really like this. The game also lets you select the different weapon groups, and you can hold that weapon if you so wish as well. In the beginning of the game, this is really important because you don't necessarily want to nuke a planet into orbit, but otherwise I don't see why you wouldn't want to be firing all weapons at all the time whenever they're available. When it comes to moving your targets, your ships, you do have to remember that your ships have drift. They have no immediate forward thrusters or reverse thrusters to take them out of their forward motion. And nor is that something. Please don't hit my ship. Yeah, that's also awkward. So they can't stop immediately, which is realistic, I think. That's fantastic. But it also is a bit tricky when you're trying to get them lined up in certain formations. Something else that ships will do, which you'll notice pretty much right away, is that they will sail past their target, fire their side and rear guns, and then turn around. If you want them to forward face their target at all times, you will find this to be very difficult and will require you manually pausing the game in order to give instructions to your ships.
Get the ship moving.
Because I've also hit this button, the ships will ignore my movement commands
Target locked.
and instead do whatever. Now we have to catch up with this guy. So if I wanted this, so for example, if I wanted a ship forward facing to always face the ship, upon getting within a certain distance, I would need to pause the game. Well, I guess you don't need to pause it, but I do because I'm not that good. And then take him off this,
Fleet resuming normal operation.
turn them, and that way, even though they have the ship selected, as it sails past them, they would rotate their front to face that ship. Now, I do also like when it comes to combat, just as a heads up, I like that you can target a particular thing. Like, I can be like, I want you to target that spot.
Target data received.
So targeting a place is more than just hit the ship. Your ship will attempt to hit that spot, which is useful for knocking off weapons and stuff like that as well. Or targeting a particular ship section, like its engines or what have you. So there is that as well.
All ships close to minimum range. We have got hostile fire contact.
That's Andy's point defensors, just wiping out all the drones. Just like that. Oh, you're dead. I love the sound effects. It's amazing. Wow, I'm surprised you survived that onslaught. You took a ton of hits there. Heal the missiles. You had one missile hit the ship. Two.
We are targeted, Tycho.
Oh, nice, but the plant missile came from below, so that's pretty good. So anyway, there's not too much more to say about combat, honestly. It looks great. I am really impressed with the amount of gunfire, and to be fair, like, it's tough to get AI to do what you want, especially when this many ships are firing this many weapons at all sorts of different targets, and they're all doing different ranges. The ship, you're like, turn! The poor AI would have you like, oh my god, I'm firing 50 million guns at 5 different ships. I don't know, you want me to turn as well? Okay, I'll do the best I can, and what have you. I will say that the one thing that frustrates me about this is the automatic target acquisition can be really frustrating. When you charge into a planet, for example, like this guy, like let's pretend this was my ship, he would go after the first defense battery it saw, which would almost always be drifting in this direction, and you have to actually stop your ships from ignoring everything else and make a beeline to that defense platform. So you have to be aware of that sort of thing.
Incoming!
Turn around and beat up my ships. Right, so what else is there about combat? I do like that you're able to say, I want this ship up next. Or was able to do it. Okay, game can't be paused. But you're able to manipulate which is going to spawn in next as reinforcements. Which, hey, I think that's really useful. Some things the game doesn't tell you, but you'll find out if you pay attention. For example, ships, if you have a CNC ship, new ships spawn close to it. Otherwise, they spawn at your entry point instead.
Our colony can't survive much longer.
Oh, they'll be fine, sure. Yes, good work with that deflector. Get 'em! Yeah, I love the combat. The only thing I do wish that I could do is set my camera to a free-floating spot. Since I only know how to view it, well, I guess I could hit the planet, but then I can't, I have to zoom in. So there we are, just going to be sparking. It's not good for him. Oof. We'll win, it'll just be tough. Oh, this guy's really agile at turning. My goodness, this is a terrifying ship. Got him! Yeah, so I don't really have too much more to say about combat. It is what it is, and I really like it. Again, it can be frustrating when it comes to targeting things. You might not understand, like, why are my ships sailing right past? But your ships are trying to, I think, use their side and rear mounted weapons rather than just their forward-facing ones. And to be fair, not all ships have as many forward-facing weapons as the Tarkas have. So there is that as well. And the game does give you options to select an individual ship, and you can tell, like, hey, when you fire at an enemy, keep your broadside to it, not your front, for example. So again, the game does give you the tools you need to win the battles, and I wouldn't call it, say, circumvent, but understand that the limitations, and I guess circumvent some of the what you might find to be a little more frustrating with the options that you have here. You just need to realize that these options exist, and remember to use them in combat while also enjoying how pretty the combat is itself. But combat feels really good. I have succeeded in combats with a lesser amount of troops against superior forces by targeting certain ships, like the enemy CNC ships, and then being able to pull out a victory. My positioning has mattered, like doing battles near the planets, especially when I'm outnumbered like 5-1, and I still win because I'm able to shoot down the enemy ships. I have my defense satellites plus the planet assisting me, and I'm able to decimate them. Building the right ships for the job, like when we defeated the VN Constructor, it feels really good when you design a ship and then use it in combat to do the things that you need to do, especially when you're managing that ship in combat as well. So I really like the combat for the game, even though some of it is a bit quirky. I would give it probably a 15 on a 1 to we'll say a 15 on 1 to 20. Very good, very, very solid combat. I greatly enjoy it. And also, I guess a little bit more about the game from the meta point of view, and then I'll give it my final score, I guess, and we'll be done. Does that sound good? I've been talking for like an hour. I can't believe it. Holy crap! So much for a game over. Oh my goodness. Whew. I hope I'm doing a good job. Holy crap! Oh my god! I hope I'm covering everything. I love the artwork as well. Artwork's fantastic. I love this stuff. Makes me in the mood to play it.
System update. We have enemy ships within scanner range.
Crap, I want to talk about something. I completely forgot what it was, and it was going to be maybe a little important. I've forgotten what What was I just supposed to start talking about? I can't remember. Oh, that sucks. Okay. Oh, well, okay, one or two more things. Alright, I remember one thing at least. The Grand Menace. So if you're playing with... Oh, okay, and this goes, I guess, neutral encounters. So the game does feel neutral encounters. At the beginning of the game, this can be pretty disheartening. Especially if you don't realize just how easy some of these are to circumvent. Like alien derelicts, you can beat an alien derelict with a squad of destroyers if you have like purple lasers and even, I think, shaped missiles early on. 20 of them, armed with them, maybe some point defenses to help shoot down enemy missiles and or some decent mass drivers or what have you, you'll win a fight versus an alien derelict. But at the beginning of the game, when you first reach starting planets and you're blown up, you're like, well, that sucks. And yeah, it does. Same thing with asteroid monitors, but you have a way around them. The swarm exists. There are other things which exist. We didn't fight any slavers, for example. No neutral slavers. The colony traps. I hate freaking mining colony traps. Mining traps, they freaking suck. I hate you so much. And it adds some different variety, and you do have to approach each of them a bit differently. Like the VN ships, the von Neumann. If you didn't realize that when you destroy the enemy probe, you get a berserker, in the early game, you can totally manage to take out a probe, in which case you'll learn the hard way that in 6 to 7 turns from then, you have a berserker flying your way to annihilate all your planet. Like, holy crap, you better be aware that exists, or find out about it. Again, the Wikipedia is probably the best spot for you. There's a few other random encounters. I think it was OBB Super Gamer? I think you were mentioning how you encountered a special creature in node space that only the humans or probably the Krull would encounter, which is bad. That's pretty awesome. They added stuff like that in here too. Spectres were in there. Right, and there's a Grand Menace. So if you have neutral stuff turned on, a thing will show up that can annihilate your galaxy, and it requires a lot of firepower to deal with it. But we had something called the Puppet Master show up, but it was destroyed off screen. I never saw it, so I'm imagining that it can't deal with cloaked vessels, and Seacrops just wiped it out immediately. But might have been what happened. I guess the only final thing... Oh, well, I guess you're talking about neutrals. Do I give them a rating? You can turn them off, you can leave them on, you can double them if you really want to, or anything of the sort as well. That's another thing. Everything's customizable, too. Like, I'm playing in a sphere, but I don't have to play in this type of formation. I can play anything else. I can play like a flat grid. I can play a customized one where I make my own type of formation. You can play a donut. All sorts of different formations of stars exist. And you can even have manipulation as to how big the planets are, etc., etc. So if you don't like certain aspects of the game, you are able to edit them. I think there's a bunch of mods out for the game too. Some add a ton of new ships, new weapons, they rebalance the game and stuff like that. So if you like mods, I think on the Wikipedia page there's a lot of mods listing, or you can find mods out there for Sword of the Stars. I'm a huge fan of mods, so I'll probably go and try one or two of them a little bit later. Finally, I have to... So hold on. So neutral encounters, they're completely customizable. Play with them or don't. I play with them. Some of them are not balanced in so much that, like, System Destroyer shows up. Right, it's not fair, and it's not supposed to be. You're supposed to figure out a way to solve it with what you've got, and every single one of these things can be beaten. You just need to figure out how to do it. It'd be like playing Don't Starve, and the Deerclop shows up. And in my case, that solution is to run it to a tree guard, to have them fight each other, and for that to happen, because there's no way I'm killing the thing by myself, but the game provides you means to do so. You just have to figure out what it is that you need to do with your playstyle to beat these things, and or figure out what you have to do exactly to beat one of those things. Now, I really like them. I think they're a nice touch, so I would say well done. They add a lot to the game. I guess I'm not going to give those a score. Finally, the last thing I will say is about the diplomacy. I think it's actually, if I'm being honest, it's pretty poor. There's no real trading in the game. When it comes to relations, you can't really tell why you're losing rep with people. You just know your rep's going down, and you're like, why is it going down? I don't know why it's going down. Do I have to give you more money? And you're never really sure why that's happening. If there's a way to tell, I don't know where do you find that information, and that's a shame. It's not a robust diplomacy at all. I don't want to say it's bad. There's enough information here, like, if the AI flags a planet and says attack this place, you know you'll get rep if you do the thing it's asking you to do, which is good. There's some way to get that information, but overall it's pretty basic. You can't trade planets. You can't give techs or trade techs to each other. That'd probably be unbalanced. There's all sorts of things that you can't do that I'm used to for other types of diplomacy. And I really feel that the game lacks that aspect. In fact, it's because of the poor diplomacy system that we kind of ended the game like we did. So on a scale of 1 to 20 for diplomacy, I'd honestly probably give it a 4. It's not very good. But there's enough there that you can stop attacks, you can make peace with your companions. The AI might just throw your alliance away the next day after it makes it one turn. Like you might have alliance in one turn, and the next turn they just abandon it. Like, nope, we're out of here. So I don't like that sort of thing. I think like, if you form an alliance, there should be like a rule, like, okay, for 30 turns, you're in alliance together. You're not breaking it. You're not attacking each other. Don't even bother with that stuff. But there's nothing like that whatsoever. It's just the amount of information and the amount of not combat you get away with. Ceasefire? No, you don't fight each other on neutral worlds or in deep space. But you show up on one of those planets you have a ceasefire with, they blow you to hell. Non-aggression pact, you're allowed to fly into enemy space, which is to say, fly next to their planets. So, no combat whatsoever. Alliance, you're allowed to do everything for the first two. In addition, you refuel on their planets, and you can see everything they're doing. You see where all their ship lanes are, and etc. And war is just, you fight them everywhere. So, yeah, diplomacies could be a bit better. Now that I know this, actually, I may just disable alliances in the next game I decide to play. Okay, so I think that's it, everyone. I think I'm done covering the game. That was like an hour, I think. And on the whole, on a scale of 1 to 20, I think I'd give this game a 14. Which is to say that I really like it. It has a few problems, but I'm willing to overlook those problems because the things the game does right, it does good enough that the niggly bits are forgivable. And heck, you can always reload the game if a combat didn't really go to your liking because of some mistake the AI decided to do in guarding your ships or stuff like that. So, I like it. I really like it. I'm glad that I've sat down and beat it with you guys. I'm really glad for all the tips and hints, which has helped me figure out the game even more. And I hope that you like this game as well. I can definitely recommend the game with the caveat that there is a real hump in learning it. The first reason I began playing this game was because I wanted to show my brother Dave how to play the game. Like, everything that's involved with it, because the game is great. You have to get past the learning curve that's right in front of you first. And it's a big curve to throw at you as well. But once you're past it, I really think the game takes off, and you'll like what's here, assuming that you like these types of games, and you're willing to sit through a bunch of the nuances and minutia about managing this much stuff. And if you don't want, again, a planet that has 267 stars, or however many we have in the system, you can tailor it. Make it down to like 20 planets, and everyone starts with 10, and then it's just all-out war. Or maybe make it with clusters, and you don't have to worry about being zerged right away. Or make it even smaller, so you don't have to worry about different types of... you don't have to worry about it taking a long time to get from planet to planet. So, yeah, so there you have it, everyone. Thank you again for watching this. Thank you for all the advice and tips you gave. I hope I did a good job on my first game review. I hope it didn't sound like I hated the game. I definitely don't. I like the game. I can definitely recommend the game if you like it. Just, again, be aware that there are a few caveats. The game isn't as pretty, but the game is an old game. Was it 2010? I think when the game came out, maybe 2012? I think it was 2010, though. Might have been a little earlier, but before that, too. Maybe 2007? Can't remember now. But it was a long time ago this game came out. And I still play it. I still play it. All right. So that'll do it for us, everyone. Thank you one more time for watching this entire series. Very much. It was a huge amount of fun. And I'll see you next one. Take care, everyone.